In my previous life, I was forced to marry the richest man's only daughter, while my elder brother, ignoring the family's objections, willfully chose his university professor. In less than 3 months, he couldn't stand the monotonous life and demanded a divorce. To get the life he wanted, my brother even became a shady public lover, moving from one woman to another, and was ultimately scorned by everyone. I, on the other hand, frequently appeared at various high-end gatherings as the husband of the richest man's only daughter, living the life my brother dreamed of. My brother became consumed by jealousy and dragged me as he fell off the rooftop with me. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day of the blind date banquet. This time, my brother was quick to put his arm around the richest man's only daughter's shoulder. He said that since I had the dragon's life destiny, I should marry the richest man's only daughter. When my brother put his arm around the richest man's only daughter's shoulder, I knew he had also been reborn. In the previous life, our parents held a blind date banquet to choose the best marriage partners for us twin brothers, aiming to help the family climb higher. The target set by our parents for my brother was Yin Mingao, the richest man's only daughter. But my overly spoiled brother willfully insisted on marrying his university teacher, Bai Ningbing. Reborn, he chose the richest man's only daughter. He leaned over to me arrogantly and said, "I have the dragon's life destiny, so I should marry the richest man's only daughter." Seeing my brother's choice, our parents were ecstatic. In this life, my brother was only busy flattering the richest man, completely forgetting Bai Ningbing, whom he had brought with him. He only had eyes for the Yin family's parents, so carried away that he forgot the Bai family, though not as prominent as the Yin family, was also a century-old business dynasty. Although Bai Ningbing was not in the business world, she was the eldest daughter of the Bai family. I walked toward Bai Ningbing and extended my hand. "Hello, Professor Bai. I am Ye Fan." The entire business world knew that the children born to the Yi family men were not only outstanding in appearance, but also had exceptional intelligence and emotional quotient, the enviable other people's children. Moreover, their genes were powerful. No matter how unattractive the woman they married, the next generation's family appearance genes would be refreshed. Thus, Yi family men were highly sought after, and business tycoons considered them the best son-in-law candidates. Because of this advantage of having desirable males, the Yi family, which was otherwise poor, managed to secure a place in the business world. My brother and I are twins. My brother is sunny and outgoing, sweet-talking, and has a high EQ, which makes him popular with the wealthy and powerful uncles and cousins. I am quiet and reserved, not good with words, and prefer to sit quietly on the side, a wooden head in my parents' eyes. When we were born, the sky showed a miraculous dragon's manifestation. A fortune teller said, "This child has the dragon's life destiny and can help the family soar." As soon as the words fell, my brother was born. I was born 10 minutes later. Our family already favored males, and this time we had twins, one of whom had the dragon's life destiny. Our parents called it Heaven's Will. From then on, my brother, who was believed to have the dragon's life, was spoiled immensely by our parents. The reputation of the dragon's life male also spread throughout the business world, while I had little presence. Growing up, I can't say my parents were bad to me. It's just that everything centered around my brother, and he always came first. In the previous life, because of my brother's immense reputation for having the dragon's life, business tycoons with marriageable children, except for the Bai family, eagerly attended the blind date banquet our parents held for us brothers. Although the occasion was hosted in our names, I knew I had no right to choose. After my brother willfully chose Bai Ningbing, my parents made me marry the richest man's only daughter. Our fates were supposed to be like the dragon's manifestation at our birth. He was to be as brilliant as the scorching sun, and I was to be a conformist. Who knew that less than 3 months after marrying Bai Ningbing, my brother would grow tired of the uneventful life? He had always loved high-end business gatherings since childhood, enjoying being sought after and living under the spotlight. He married Bai Ningbing because he was attracted to her looks and wanted the pleasure of conquest. My brother always thought the Bai family was a business dynasty, and after marrying Bai Ningbing, he would certainly not lack high-end events, and his life would continue as usual. Who knew that Bai Ningbing was not close to her family, completely avoided the business world, and only focused on teaching and research? Furthermore, Bai Ningbing's health was poor, and she had to be very careful about her diet. My brother discovered that this life was miles away from what he had imagined. Love crumbled before reality. In just a few months, he couldn't stand it anymore and demanded a divorce. But Bai Ningbing was stubborn, and, having fallen deeply in love after 2 or 3 months of my brother's affectionate pursuit, resolutely refused to divorce. My brother cried, made a scene, and threatened suicide to demand a divorce. After being ignored, he ran home to our parents and the wealthy and influential uncles of the Yi family for help with the divorce. But even I knew this was impossible. The Bai family was a century-old business dynasty with a profound history, having made immortal contributions to the liberation of China. Their business interests spanned major industries. Our Yi family was just a minor, attached family, a joke in front of the Bai family, not worth a second glance. Most importantly, the Yi family was currently leveraging the Bai family's influence for a project that could change the family's destiny, and it was at a critical stage. My brother divorcing Bai Ningbing now would undoubtedly destroy the very foundation of our family's survival. No matter how much our parents doted on my brother, they could not choose him over the family's fate. My brother went home and caused chaos, even going so far as to make trouble at the Bai family home. The Bai family was reasonable and persuaded Bai Ningbing to agree to the divorce. When this news reached our home, father raised his hand and gave the excited brother a slap. "Yi Xiu, Bai Ningbing is the one you insisted on marrying. I warn you, until our Yi family rises to the next level, you cannot divorce. Otherwise, I will have the Yi family blacklist you, and you will have nothing." My brother, already weathered by life, was afraid. He knew the life he wanted depended on the Yi family and their connections. If father, who now controlled the Yi family, blacklisted him, he would truly be nothing. But my brother, who had been pampered since childhood, had never suffered such a grievance. He chose to become a public lover, perhaps to retaliate against father or to obtain the life he wanted. Whoever paid more could. Trust aced the paye, dragon's life male. He moved from one woman to another, was scorned by others, and lived in the shadows. Meanwhile, I, as the son-in-law of the richest man's only daughter, high-profilely attended major high-end events, living the life my brother had always dreamed of. On this day, Yin Mingao was named Annual Business Elite by a national authoritative media outlet. She took me to the awards ceremony. When my brother found out, he secretly sought me out, insisting on pulling me to a secluded spot to talk. I looked at my brother, who looked prematurely aged from his debauchery, and sighed with regret. But my brother unexpectedly hugged me and fell with me from the high rooftop. When I opened my eyes again, he had already rushed to choose the richest man's only daughter, Yin Mingao. Therefore, I would fight for the life I had always longed for, a peaceful, calm, and comfortable one. I took Bai Ningbing's slightly cold hand and put my arm around her shoulder. She looked up at me, her eyes flickering. I looked into her eyes and said gently, "Are you hungry? Let's go eat something." I took her to my favorite corner and got her a lot of food. Just as she was about to eat, a jarring voice shattered the privacy. "Tisk, tisk, look who it is!" Even someone as aloof as Professor Bai is here to compete for the Dragon's Life male. Too bad. Even if Ye Shu brought you, so what? He chose me without hesitation. He's mine now. Saying this, Yin Mingao patted my brother's face like one pets a dog, looking triumphant at Bai Ningbing. Bai Ningbing was the biggest psychological shadow for the second-generation rich in the business world. While Yin Mingao and her peers were still in their rebellious phase, the genius girl had already won multiple international awards for genetic research. Now, she was a professor at the top-ranked A university and a visiting professor at Ivy League schools like Harvard. Bai Ningbing was someone Yin Mingao couldn't even dream of catching up to. Having won against Bai Ningbing in this reselection, Yin Mingao naturally wanted to vent her anger. My brother turned his head and sealed Yin Mingao's red lips with a kiss. Then, leaning against Yin Mingao's face, he stared at Bai Ningbing. A precious girl with a twisted throat. This bookworm isn't even fit to carry your shoes. And she has no personality. Anyone with eyes wouldn't choose her. Ha ha! My brother was clearly acting out his resentment from the previous life. I stood up and blocked Bai Ningbing. Brother, that's enough. My brother didn't hide the hatred in his eyes as he looked at me. What? Want to pick up my scraps? But a bookworm and a block of wood are a perfect match. My brother forcefully slapped towards my face. I firmly grabbed his hand. If I'm picking up scraps, what are you? I stared back at him without flinching. Who hasn't had a past life? My brother saw the hostility in my eyes, realized something, and, a little intimidated, hugged the still clamoring Yin Mingao and left. I looked at my brother's retreating figure. You'll slowly realize how great Yin Mingao is later. In this situation, I first drove Bai Ningbing home. The journey was silent. When the car stopped in front of her apartment building, Bai Ningbing suddenly spoke. Why did you help me? Will you believe me if I say I like you? I pulled the handbrake and turned my head. Bai Ningbing's eyes clearly darkened. She was about to speak, then opened the car door and got out. I quickly got out and grabbed her hand, saying urgently, if I don't secure a partner today, tomorrow my parents will push me onto anyone who benefits the family. I, as a dependent, have no choice. But you are the only one I want to choose. Bai Ningbing turned her head, still looking cold. Why me? I looked into her eyes and said sincerely, I don't like a life of scheming, and you're not in the business world. After thinking it over, in this circle, only you can give me the life I want. Besides, since you liked my brother, you should also be able to like me. We are twins. Bai Ningbing suddenly interrupted me. You seem to know me very well. My brother and I are classmates. I also attended your class. How is that possible? I don't recall ever seeing you. Bai Ningbing narrowed her eyes slightly. Quote, how can one see the heart where the sun shines brightest? I said self-deprecatingly. No flirting, no easy divorce. These are the basic conditions for marrying me. Bai Ningbing interrupted me again. What? I didn't react immediately. She continued, I'm very busy with work. I can't do any housework, and my health is not very good. I looked at her, excited, slightly panting mouth, and couldn't resist sealing her words with a kiss. The touch was soft and gentle, with a faint minty scent, making it hard to pull away. But I only took a light taste. Her beautiful eyes were shining with a moving light. I covered her eyes with my hand. Don't be afraid, I will take care of you. The wedding, held 10 days later than my brother's, saw both my brother and me leave home. After the complicated wedding ceremony, Bai Ningbing and I arrived at her residence near the university. We got married almost as strangers. Although I had been married in the previous life, the various feelings were better left unsaid. Bai Ningbing was truly inexperienced. When we sat on the rose-petal-strewn bed, she only blushed. Life must go on. I'll take the lead. I turned her towards me and used my hand to lift her constantly lowered head. Aren't you a biologist? Don't you have any curiosity? She indeed raised her eyes and asked, curiosity about what? I couldn't resist caressing her face and lips. I then said seriously, don't they all say the Yi family men have powerful genes? Haven't you ever thought about studying them? Intelligent as she was, she reacted, and her eyes sparkled with an eager desire to study. She pounced on me. The moonlight, like sand, enveloped us as we passionately carried out our research. After a few days of sweet intimacy, Bai Ningbing returned to her normal life. She went to work. I couldn't be idle while she was away. I sat at the table, earnestly planning my future. Our Yi family was a joke in the eyes of the business clans. To use a suitable analogy, we were like the Yangzhou lean horse, households of ancient times. They cultivated women to be alluring for sale, while my family cultivated males. In the previous life, did Yin Mingao dare treat me that way because I was an item displayed on a shelf, full of resentment, only to be handled by the buyer? I don't want to be treated like livestock again. I certainly don't want my child to repeat my fate. Since I want to defy fate and change my destiny, I will take a gamble. I believe my destiny is in my hands. I remember that in the previous life, Bai Ningbing saw my brother was idle and asked him to be her assistant. My brother complained that Bai Ningbing looked down on him, which sparked their first conflict. My brother and I majored in business administration in college, but we often audited classes in other majors, such as Bai Ningbing's. My brother's goal was to network with rich, second-generation individuals and choose a marriage target, while I was genuinely interested in biology. For example, I was always curious why my family's genes seemed to be cheating. If my family hadn't obstructed me, I might have gotten a second bachelor's degree in biology. That evening, I proposed to Bai Ningbing that I become her assistant. She looked at me skeptically. "Are you sure you can handle it? Don't you know if I can handle it?" When a man's ability is questioned, he must fight back. After a stormy night, I gently massaged Bai Ningbing's waist to relieve her discomfort. "Can I be your assistant, darling?" Bai Ningbing's eyes were filled with lingering affection, but her tone became serious. "Why do you want to be my assistant?" I said, "You're too busy, and I want to help but don't know where to start. I don't even dare organize your study. Besides, you have a bad stomach, you don't eat things that aren't to your taste, and your health is so poor that you can't even last one round in bed." She lightly slapped my butt and glared at me. "Stop with the dirty talk." She then rubbed her head against my face. "By staying with you, I can always take good care of your diet. I want your body to be strong. I want us to be together for a long, long time." Bai Ningbing seemed touched. She looked into my eyes and seriously said, "Okay." From then on, I began my life as Bai Ningbing's assistant. Every morning, I woke up early to make breakfast for Bai Ningbing. Because we didn't want outsiders in the house, we only hired a part-time housekeeper for lunch and dinner. Under my careful care, Bai Ningbing's complexion became increasingly rosy. Besides taking care of Bai Ningbing's life, I earnestly studied during my spare time, hoping to soon take on the responsibilities of a research assistant. On this day, Father asked me to bring Bai Ningbing back to the Yi family. This was a Yi family tradition. About a month after marriage, one should return to the clan to report the resources they now controlled. I heard Yi Fan became Professor Bai's personal assistant. Tisk tisk, what a virtuous wife. Yi Shu looked at Bai Ningbing, who walked hand in hand with me, a hint of anger flashing in his eyes. In our family, bringing back a wealthy and influential new wife to the family home meant success. Most of these golden and honored daughters-in-law of the wealthy did not bother to set foot in the Yi family home. It was too embarrassing. In the previous life, Bai Ningbing did not return with Yeshu. "Brother, where's the sister-in-law?" I thought with brothers, dragon's life, destiny, the sister-in-law would surely grace the Yi family home. I didn't indulge Yeshu and immediately countered. A look of resentment flashed in Yeshu's eyes. The failures of the previous life had changed Yeshu's formerly cheerful personality. Seeing the two of us about to argue, Father quickly told us to go to his study. I settled Bai Ningbing before going to the study. Yi Shu was telling Father about his achievements over the past month, such as how he had completely charmed the Yin family woman and how the Yi family could participate in a major upcoming real estate project. Father was exceptionally excited. I knew about this project from the previous life. It had run into problems and required the Bai family's political connections to smooth things out. Because Ye Qiu married Bai Ningbing in that life, the Yi family was allowed to participate through that connection. In this life, of course, it was because I married Bai Ningbing. After Yeshu finished reporting, he immediately aimed his criticism at me. "My dear brother, I heard Bai Ningbing hasn't even taken you back to the Bai family. That is to say, the Bai family hasn't acknowledged your identity. What can you bring to the family?" "I married Bai Ningbing," I retorted without showing weakness. "Ha ha!" Yeshu burst into a mocking laugh. Father also looked dissatisfied and told me to keep trying. Then, my brother sat down next to me, acting like an affectionate brother, and said in a voice only we could hear, "Little brother, your sister-in-law is very sweet and affectionate to me. Last night, she promised to let me manage her biggest entertainment company. I nodded. I believe that. Yin Mingao said the same thing to me in the last life. She didn't go back on her word, and I did manage that part of the business. I just glanced at Ye Shu, not planning to tell him how to actually manage the so-called entertainment company. Isn't this the life he chose? Yi Xiu was very unhappy with my reaction, but father told us it was time for dinner, so he had to shut up reluctantly. During dinner, seeing my meticulous care for Bai Ningbing, Ye Shu mocked me with terms like personal assistant and virtuous wife. My father also subtly mentioned Bai Ningbing not taking me back to the Bai family. I just pretended they were talking nonsense. Bai Ningbing, however, tightly squeezed my hand under the table. I was already married and had no intention of using the Yi family's resources anymore, so I had no worries. After lunch, we excused ourselves and went home. Something I didn't care about, Bai Ningbing took very seriously. After getting home, she pulled my hand and asked worriedly, "Yi Fan, will people laugh at you for being my assistant?" I looked into her serious eyes and gently stroked her face. "I'm not afraid of others laughing. I'm only afraid you'll laugh at me for being too stupid to even be your research assistant. Research is hard, and I'm worried about you." "Are you questioning my ability again? Should I prove it to you again?" Saying this, my hand began to move down. Bai Ningbing pressed down on my naughty hand and said seriously, "I'm serious." I smiled back. "I'm serious too. As long as I'm with you, I can overcome anything. I just hope my wife will teach me more. I can serve you better in bed." Bai Ningbing leaned her face into my chest and asked, somewhat indistinctly, "Do you mind if I don't take you back to my family's old house?" I gently pulled her away, cupped her cheeks, and said, "Owning you is owning your family. Your approval is all that matters. Everything else is secondary." Bai Ningbing smiled radiantly. She also raised her hands to cup my face. "Yi Fan, marrying you makes me very happy." She then stood on her tiptoes and kissed my lips. How could I resist that? In the midst of our passion, Bai Ningbing held my head and said breathlessly, "Ye Fan, let's go back to the Bai family next weekend." Bai Ningbing told me that her mother passed away from an illness when she was 10, and her father married her stepmother when she was 15. Now she has a 9-year-old brother and a 6-year-old sister. She felt a rift with her father because of this. I immediately imagined a melodramatic wealthy family feud and hastily asked her, "Did your stepmother have anything to do with your mother's death? Where did your mind go?" Bai Yi is my mother's best friend. My mother entrusted me to her before she died. She smiled and gave me a playful glance, then continued, "It was actually Dad who, considering my feelings, delayed marrying her for several years. My family is really good, but I just always feel like Dad and the others are not my immediate family, so I don't like going back to the old house," she said, sounding a little downcast. I immediately hugged her close and said gently, "If you don't want to go back, don't. I truly don't mind. I have you, and that's enough." Bai Ningbing hugged my waist tightly. On Saturday, Bai Ningbing took me back to the Bai family old house. She thoughtfully prepared gifts for her family in my name. I made a very good first impression on the Bai family. However, Father Bai, with a serious expression, took me to his study. I was a little nervous because I didn't know how a true father should treat his children, and I was very clear about the shady dealings of the Yi family. Quote, "Although Ningbing married you, I don't want you to use those dirty tricks on her. Otherwise, I will make sure you and your family can never rise again." As soon as I sat down, Father Bai hit me with a harsh warning. Next, Father Bai was both stern and encouraging, offering reassurance, all because I married his beloved daughter. It was like having the biggest handle held by someone else. Looking at Father Bai, who was completely different from my own father, tears welled up in my eyes. So this is what a real father is like. I told Father Bai my life plan without reservation. Finally, I said, "Dad, I will definitely take good care of Ningbing. I want to be with Ningbing for a very long time." Father Bai looked at me and, very pleased, patted my shoulder. That evening, my father-in-law summoned all the key immediate members of the Bai family. He personally introduced me to all the family members present. Father Bai was using this method to tell everyone that I was a new member of the Bai family. And the reason I was being received with such high regard was simply because I was the man Bai Ningbing chose. My gaze turned to the main table, where Bai Ningbing was smiling brightly, like a spring flower. In the following months, I became a frequent visitor to the Bai family old house. When Ningbing was free, I would go with her. When she was too busy, I would go by myself and report all of Bai Ningbing's activities to my serious father-in-law. Even if it was only a few days between visits, Father Bai still listened with great interest. My brother-in-law, Yitu, and sister-in-law, Ning Shui, are now very close to me. Whenever I go to the Bai family, they are the happiest. Yitu idolizes his older sister the most. After getting first-hand information about his sister from me, he demands himself to meet his sister's standards and studies even harder. The entire Bai family credits me for the elder grandson's self-discipline and progress. Ning Shui, on the other hand, is a little obsessed with handsome looks. Her biggest life goal is to find a boyfriend as handsome as Brother Yifan. Since she is too young now, she can only borrow Brother Yifan for the time being. If I go to the Bai family on a weekend, I must accompany Ning Shui and her friends shopping. On weekdays, I must pick her up from school so that Princess Ning Shui can show off her world's most handsome brother-in-law to her friends and classmates. Bai Yi watched all this and often asked Ningbing about my preferences and tastes. And whenever I went to the Bai family, I would eat my favorite dishes. Now I've become the favorite of the Bai family. Every time I go to the old house, I'm always caught in a tug-of-war between the two elders and the two youngsters. My performance has earned high recognition from the Bai family. Sometimes, Bai Ningbing would work tirelessly because she was too busy. That stubbornness meant she wouldn't listen to any advice. I would go to the old house and complain. Father Bai would either personally come over or call her home to lecture her. Father Bai even announced in front of Ningbing and me, "Ye Fan is doing great. From now on, if Ningbing bullies you, come to me. I've got your back." Bai Ningbing glared at me, her backer, but a light that couldn't be mistaken for anything else sparkled in her eyes. After returning home, Ningbing would wrap her legs around my waist, climb onto my neck with her hands, and kiss me fiercely. Amidst our frantic panting, I seemed to hear her say, "Yifan, I love you." My life with Ningbing was calm and comfortable, but there were also some bothersome things happening. Yi Xiu seemed to have become twisted. I became his barometer of happiness. As long as I was living worse than him, he would be happy. He would often come to my house to tell me what new things he had acquired, big or small, from companies to luxury accessories. And every time he came, he would compare my house and life with his own. Many friends asked me if the Bai family was mistreating me, and Ningbing even asked me if I was being wronged. I pinched her nose. "Silly, did you forget what I said when I proposed to you? I don't like the seemingly glamorous, extravagant life. You have given me everything I was looking for. You don't know how satisfied I am with my life now." I gently kissed her lips. Life is like wearing shoes. Only you know if they are comfortable. Ye Xiu's behavior was starting to bother Ningbing. Just as I was thinking of a way to resolve this, something happened that made Ye Xiu unable to gloat to me anymore. That day, Father asked me to return to the Yi family, saying he had an important matter to discuss. I was planning to go back alone after telling Ningbing, but when she heard Father wanted me back, she insisted on going with me, dropping her work. It was as if I was going to face a monster at home, and she was there to protect me. To my surprise, Yin Mingao was also there. I knew what they wanted. Sure enough, after a simple exchange of pleasantries, Ye Xiu ordered me to introduce the chairman of the Bai family's real estate company to him and Yin Mingao. "Ye Fan is not involved in the Bai family's business. You can contact my second uncle yourself." Before I could even speak, Ningbing unceremoniously refused, then grabbed my hand. "Yi Fan, let's go home." Father saw Ningbing protecting me and immediately stood up, anxiously blocking Ningbing and then pretending to scold Yi Xiu, telling him to speak properly. Yin Mingao, seeing Ningbing's affection for me, realized my irreplaceable position in Ningbing's heart. She immediately dropped her arrogance and adopted a professional attitude, sincerely explaining the ins and outs of the project she wanted to collaborate on. Finally, she said, "Several companies are managing this project, but our Yin family is the most capable. Besides, isn't this the meaning of in-laws?" Ningbing looked at me. "Yi Fan, you studied business. You evaluate whether it's worth collaborating. I believe Dad will support your decision." This statement held great weight and directly highlighted my status in the Bai family. Both Father and Yesu stared at me. Yin Mingao was even more incredulous that someone of my background held such a position in the Bai family. Yishu's gaze turned from disbelief to deep resentment. His short marriage with Bai Ningbing in the previous life was spent mostly in arguments, and he had never received Bai Ningbing's protection. I looked at Ningbing, who wanted to shield me from all harm, and my heart was filled with tenderness. After the discussion, we left directly for home, despite Father's attempts to make us stay. Just as we were about to walk out the door, a hand reached out and lunged straight for Ningbing. I instinctively sidestepped to block it and caught the hand. Yesu cried out in pain. Due to the violent movement, Yesu's sleeve was pulled up, revealing a deep purple bruise on the spot I grabbed. I saw Yesu staring at Ningbing like a venomous snake and quickly pulled him away from Ningbing. "Yesu, what are you trying to do?" Yesu seemed to snap back to reality. His resentful gaze turned to me. "I just want to ask Bai Ningbing, that bitch, why she never treated me this way. What's wrong with me?" I looked at my brother, who was consumed by obsession. "How did you treat him in the previous life? A person's heart is exchanged for another's heart. You don't even understand this basic principle," I said with contempt. I sternly warned him, "You'd better not disturb Ningbing, or I'll make your life even harder." Then I squeezed his bruise hard. I knew this was a good project. Afterward, I went to the Bai family and introduced the project's prospects. Father Bai agreed with my judgment. A few days later, I introduced Yin Mingao to the Bai family's second cousin, who managed real estate. Yin Mingao was considered an elite in business. Soon, the Bai and Yin families reached a strategic cooperation agreement. After the cooperation agreement was signed, I represented the Bai family to see Yin Mingao off. She suddenly blocked me and, with that disgusting look, appraised me from head to toe. She unexpectedly slapped my butt. She raised the hand that slapped me and showed it off. "What skill did you use to conquer Bai Ningbing? I want to try it too." I took out a handkerchief and meticulously wiped the spot she had slapped. After throwing away the handkerchief, I looked at Yin Mingao with malicious eyes. "Don't let this happen again. Also, control Yishu. Otherwise, I will immediately tear up the cooperation agreement. Then you'll know how deep my skill is." From that day on, Yesu never bothered me again. Time flew by, and soon it was New Year's Eve again. Early in the morning, we were urged by Father Bai to return to the old house. Just as the family was happily preparing for the new year, an urgent phone call summoned Bai Ningbing back to work. I wanted to go with her, but she told me to stay. I pulled her aside and asked, "Ningbing, tell me the truth, what's going on?" Ningbing hesitated slightly, then said, "It's the thing I was worried about before. My judgment has been confirmed." It turned out that an unknown pneumonia had appeared in Jingchu City at the end of the previous year. At the beginning of this year, local medical staff warned online that SARS in 2003 was reappearing, but later there were refutations, and no related rumors surfaced again. I thought it was nothing, but Ningbing believed things were not that simple. She even applied to go there for an on-site inspection but was not approved. Since then, she had been a little worried and had bought a large batch of protective supplies in preparation. She told me not to worry too much, stay home and use the protective measures we practice to keep the family safe. Thank you for your hard work. She then left without looking back. I suppressed the anxiety in my heart and told Father Bai Ningbing's previous assessment, asking him to immediately notify the Bai family branches to prepare, but not to spread the news to avoid chaos. The virus completely dampened the New Year's festive mood. The reality was more serious than we imagined. On New Year's Eve, Jingchu City, with a population of over 10 million, was locked down. The local medical system was mobilized first, rushing to Jingchu City. More and more news poured in. The virus was particularly harmful to the elderly and the frail. Jingchu City had increasing infection and death tolls day by day. The whole country mobilized to support Jingchu. The entire nation was pale with fear of the virus. Everyone stayed home in silence. All cities looked like ghost towns. This news and situation kept me awake all night. I thought of Ningbing fighting the virus, her dedication to her work, and her incredibly weak body. By the second day of the new year, I couldn't sit still anymore. I invited Father Bai to the study. "Dad, I'm going to find Ningbing. Child, you know how powerful the virus is. Ningbing is in the most dangerous place, but that's her job. There's nothing we can do. What if something happens to you when you go?" I stepped forward and held his hand. "Dad, I'm going so that both Ningbing and I can be okay. You know how helpless Ningbing is in daily life, and her health is poor. If no one takes care of her, I'm afraid she will." I couldn't continue, choked up. Father Bai also shed tears. "Good child. I also worry about Ningbing. But that is a place of life and death. How can I bear to let you risk your life? I love Ningbing. Marrying her is the luck of my 3 lifetimes. Because of her, I have a real family. You and the Bai family treat me like your own son and brother, letting me know what it means to be a decent person. If something happens to Ningbing, what meaning will the rest of my life have? Please let me go." I stood beside Father Bai, looking him in the eye. Father Bai grabbed my hand, his eyes filled with complex emotions. I once again emphasized the importance of protective measures to the Bai family and said goodbye amidst the tearful farewells of Yitu and Ningshuai. I headed to the battlefield where Ningbing and I would fight. The Bai family used their connections to send me to the research base where Ningbing was located. Bai Ningbing, wrapped in a protective suit with only her eyes showing, saw me and immediately rushed 2 steps closer. Her eyes were full of worry and blame. "Why are you here? You can easily get infected here. Leave quickly," she said, trying to push me away. I hugged her waist and looked into her eyes through the visor. "You haven't been eating properly these past few days, have you? Look, the little bit of weight you gained is all gone again." She tried to speak, but I raised my hand to cover her eyes. "Ningbing, I need to take good care of you. I know your temper and personality best. If I'm not here, you'll definitely not eat, not drink, and work nonstop, right? Ningbing, we promised to be together for a long, long time. Neither of us can break that promise. Don't drive me away. Let me fight with you." I stayed. Bai Ningbing repeatedly explained how to protect and sanitize myself, and warned me again and again to follow the procedures. After knowing her for so long, I realized that she, who was usually a little aloof, could be so naggy. After I arrived, I took over her 3 meals a day. When it was time, no matter what she was doing, I would make her stop and eat. Once, when I went to bring her food, I ran into Ningbing's boss, Academician Chen. I complained to him that Bai Ningbing wasn't eating properly, and also gave the academician a lecture on how health is the foundation of revolution, and how a career cannot continue if one's health collapses. Academician Chen wholeheartedly agreed and demanded that all research personnel eat on time, which earned me a dirty look from Ningbing. Since then, everyone knew that Bai Ningbing had a very controlling, scholarly husband. I became quite famous at the base. Besides ensuring Ningbing ate and drank, I also made her walk for at least half an hour every day. At the same time, I was diligently studying to be her assistant. Currently, I am mainly responsible for organizing her data. All experimental data is organized, categorized, and archived by me, allowing Ningbing to sleep a little longer every day. The epidemic outside was still raging, and the pressure at the research base was growing. Looking at the daily rising numbers, the researchers knew that behind every cold statistic were once vibrant lives and happy families. The pressure of work was increasing. Despite my care, Bai Ningbing still wasn't gaining weight, which made my heart ache. With the concerted efforts of the entire nation, the epidemic prevention and control achieved noticeable results. Also, in October of that year, the country's first COVID-19 vaccine, led by Academician Chen, was included in the vaccination implementation plan. The core research personnel of Academician Chen's team were finally unsealed and sent home. As soon as my phone connected to the network, there were 99+ notifications on calls and WeChat. I began answering the calls and messages. These calls and messages, besides some friends I hadn't informed of my whereabouts, were all from Ye Shui. The core message of his messages was only one thing. Why didn't I tell him about Yin Mingao? His tone went from relatively stable at first to hysterical in the end. I calculated the time Yi Shu should have reached his breaking point. Yin Mingao must have completely revealed her preferences to Ye Shu, and Ye Shu must have witnessed and been forced to participate in Yin Mingao's preferences, those preferences that no normal person could bear. After a month of closed-off quarantine, we went straight to the Bai family. Ningbing originally wanted to go to the Yi family first, but when she called my father to inform him, he didn't even know I had been missing for nearly 9 months. Ningbing looked at me disdainfully and gave up the trip to the Yi family. When Ningbing and I arrived at the old house, the Bai family patriarch and the key immediate family members were all at the door to welcome us. Once inside, the grandparents grabbed Ningbing and kept calling her their treasure. Father Bai and Aunt Bai surrounded me, asking us about the vaccine research progress. It was then that the two youngsters, Yitu and Ning Shui, managed to squeeze through the crowd to reach us. Yitu complained that his sister was too thin and insisted on giving his sister all the delicious food at home. Ning Shui threw herself into my arms, sobbing, saying that if I hadn't come back, she would have missed me so much that she would forget what I looked like. The whole family burst into laughter. What I didn't expect was that the Bai family opened the ancestral hall. In the family genealogy, a separate page was dedicated to documenting. Daughter Bai Ningbing's husband Ye Fan risked his life to develop a vaccine for the country, saving lives from the plague and continuing the Bai family's glory. The previous page recorded the incident of the Bai family ancestors who risked their lives to smuggle urgently needed supplies to fund the country's liberation. And I am the only son-in-law ever allowed to be recorded in the genealogy since the Bai family established its ancestral hall. After the ceremony at the ancestral hall, everyone began to prepare for the celebration banquet. According to Father Bai, they were making up for our New Year's Eve dinner. The house was busy, full of laughter, and steaming with cooking. The smell of home, the most reassuring human warmth. After staying at the Bai family old house for a few days, we returned home. Yishio came to see me, his eyes bloodshot. His first sentence after seeing me was, "Why didn't you tell me about Yin Mingao? I'm your older brother." Did you ever ask me? Did you ever give me a chance to tell you? Besides, why should I tell you? Are we in an amicable, fraternal relationship? Don't you know how I died in the previous life? I retorted, not backing down and showing contempt. Seeing that I was completely unyielding, he started to cry and play the victim again. I knew Yin Mingao was a sadist. In the previous life, she had whipping, candles, ropes, and other tools of torture ready. She liked to force people into all sorts of shameful poses and actions to satisfy herself. She also liked to abuse small animals, especially cats. She had a specialized cat abuse room. Not only did she commit the abuse herself, but she also liked to force others to do it, while she watched with enthusiasm on the side. I also knew that Yin Mingao played very wild. In the so-called entertainment club that Ye Shu managed, all sorts of unbearable acts were fully displayed. This was also Yin Mingao's main venue for cozying up to powerful families, using inappropriate relationships as evidence to control powerful people. I knew all this because Yin Mingao also forced me. However, I resisted her abnormal behavior to the death. Because of this, Yin Mingao had tortured me with all sorts of cruelty. If it weren't for the fact that I was supposed to bear an excellent heir for the Yin family, I would have died at Yin Mingao's hands. I just didn't expect Yin Mingao to be even worse than I knew. She was even involved in child trafficking. Besides torturing for pleasure, she was extracting adrenaline that could make people rejuvenate. She dared to be so reckless because money could cover up the ugliness. I looked at Ye Shu, who was crying like a puddle of mud, and asked, "Did you do everything he asked you to do?" He looked up in horror. "How dare I not? If I didn't, he would find people to beat me to death. He would also cut off my extravagant lifestyle and forbid me from attending various gatherings." I interrupted him with a sneer. "Is that so? So you broke your human bottom line? Then what was I supposed to do? Didn't you also give in? What right do you have to mock me?" Yi Shu seemed to have found my weakness and stood up, pointing at me. "That's the difference between you and me. I would rather die than do things that are not human. I believe that as long as I don't cross my own bottom line, others will respect it. I looked at him with righteous indignation. I would rather die than do things that are not human. I believe that as long as I don't cross my own bottom line, others will respect it. Yishu, seeing my righteous words, collapsed to the side as if his bones had been removed. Suddenly he seemed to think of something and looked at me with eyes full of hope. Since you're not afraid of pain, can we switch places? We're twins. We look alike, no one will notice. Little brother, save me, let's switch. Just as I felt speechless, Ningbing walked into the living room. Without saying a word, she grabbed a baseball bat from the side and swung it at Yishu, hitting him until he scrambled away, clutching his head. When she came back, she hugged my waist tightly. "Ye fan, no one can switch you out, no one!" I hugged her shoulders. How could I abandon the darling I raised myself? At the end of the year, as the epidemic situation improved, the country held a grand commendation ceremony for those who made outstanding contributions to the fight against the epidemic. Academician Chen was awarded the country's highest medal. The next day, several national institutions held ceremonies to commend other awarded anti-epidemic personnel. Ningbing was awarded the Medal for Outstanding Contributions. Father Bai, Aunt Bai, Yitu, Ningshui, and I, as Ningbing's closest family, were invited to attend the ceremony. Coincidentally, the venue was the same place where Yin Mingao received the annual Business Elite Award in the previous life. After Ningbing went on stage to receive the award, she delivered her acceptance speech. To receive this honor, the person I must thank most is my family. Their support is my greatest strength, especially my husband Yifan. He came to the research base despite the danger of infection and selflessly took on all the work outside of research. My health is very poor. If it weren't for him, I might have collapsed early on. He deserves a huge part of my honor. The epidemic has made many people experience life and death, and so have I. After this test, I realized that the most precious thing in my life is my husband, Ye Fan. For the rest of my life, I will never leave him. I love you, Ye Fan. Thunderous applause erupted below the stage. Ningbing had just confessed her love to me in front of a national audience. Tears suddenly streamed down my face. As long as a person is willing to put in the effort, life will deliver the results. I hugged Ningbing tightly and kept whispering in her ear, "Ningbing, I love you too." Before the banquet started, Ningbing was called away by academician Chen to meet colleagues. As I was getting bored, Ye Shu appeared next to me like a ghost. He desperately pulled me towards the rooftop. History repeating itself. When we reached the rooftop, he immediately hugged me, trying to jump off the building again. I instantly broke free of his arms and fiercely gripped his shoulders with both hands. Ye Shu couldn't move. He struggled in vain. "I've lost you in both lives. I'm not reconciled. Why do I have the dragon's life destiny?" He screamed maniacally. "I want to choose again." In this life, my brother was only busy flattering the richest man. I had always wondered why Yishu let himself live the way he did now. Now I understand. He always wanted to take a shortcut, unaware that the shortcut is the longest path in the world. He would always run away, unaware that escape is the most difficult obsession in the world. He was completely powerless to fight against the life fate bestowed upon him and would only drift along, but he had a wild ambition that far exceeded his ability. In the end, he would only live the life he hated the most, a double tragedy. Yashu was still mumbling, "I want to choose again." I slapped Yeshu, who was lost in madness, hard. No matter how many times you choose, you will ultimately end up with today's result. The dragon's life destiny is earned through struggle, and you are just a loser in life, a coward I will always look down on. After saying this, I threw aside the limp Yeshu and left the rooftop. I didn't want to stay in this dark place any longer. I wanted to find my light. I stepped into the banquet hall and immediately saw Ningbing, who was looking for me. The dazzling light still couldn't conceal the radiance around her. When she saw me, she hurried towards me. The afterglow of the lights formed the illusion of wings behind her. In this life, I am willing to be the wings that help her soar. After the real estate project completed the initial phase of cooperation, I immediately halted subsequent engineering collaboration. A year later, Ye Xiu reported Yin Mingao under her real name for crimes such as cat abuse and involvement in child trafficking. The Yin family's reputation was ruined, its stock plummeted. In just 1 month, the Yin family, once one of the country's foremost corporate groups, shrank into an insignificant company and eventually disappeared. The Yi family still continues their seed male plan, although they no longer receive my assistance, and I am the ceiling that the Yi family men can never surpass.